Welcome to Unbroken Voices, the podcast where we explore the raw edges of grief, the brushstrokes of healing, and the promises we make to ourselves. I'm Sydney Brown, author of Unbroken Promise, and today we're stepping into the heart of the book itself. I'm inviting you into the pages of my heart. This is the very first episode, and it's deeply personal. We're talking about my book, Unbroken Promise, a poetic journey through grief, healing, and the kind of love that refuses to stay shattered. If you've ever felt broken beyond repair, or if you've questioned whether the pieces could ever mean something beautiful again, this one's for you. Let's begin. If you've ever painted your pain onto a canvas literally or figuratively, or wondered if broken pieces can ever form something beautiful again, this episode is for you. We'll read excerpts, reflect on the themes, and remind ourselves that hope isn't just a color, it's a choice. Unbroken Promise started as my way of making sense of sorrow. The protagonist is an artist, much like me, who spent years hiding behind muted blues and grays. But when Isabel enters his world, everything shifts. It's not just a love story, it's about rediscovering color after darkness, risking vulnerability, and forgiving the past. Let me read from chapter 1, When Color Returned. This sets the scene for how grief can become a safe prison, until one encounter cracks it open. Every morning, I painted the same sorrow. At dawn, I mixed titanium white with charcoal gray until my fears bled from every stroke. My canvases were altars to heartbreak swaths of muted blue and ashen shadows that felt safer than joy. On the day love began again, I watched rainwater trace rivulets down my loft's tall windows as I stared at an unfinished painting. The canvas lay bare except for a single brushstroke sunset orange scratched through the gloom. Isabel Hart paused before evening's hop, a small canvas of peach light breaking across shadowed hills. She leaned closer and whispered, "This speaks to something I lost." I stepped forward, surprised by the tremor in my voice. "I painted my sorrow here," I said. "I wonder if it can hold hope too." She turned, her eyes reflecting gallery light in molten green. "We ask too much of our art. We need to remember hope is not just something to paint, it is something to live." That moment, the charged stillness between them is where the story ignites. It's about stepping out of isolation and tasting possibility. As the author, I drew from my own experiences of how a simple conversation can pull you from the eclipse of pain. Readers have told me this chapter resonates when they're emerging from their own endless eclipse. What about you? Does it echo your story? Okay, let's take a brief break before moving on to chapter 2. Let's take a listen to this guitar solo. Welcome back. Now let's get into Chapter 2, Threads of Dawn. Here, we see the tentative pull toward connection, like stitching light back into a fractured life. The next morning dawned pale and quiet. I found myself at a small cafe. When Isabel slipped through the cafe door, the ivy shadows fell across her cheeks like whispered secrets. We spoke of our wounds gently, as though touching open skin. I confessed how painting sorrow felt safer than risking joy. She whispered that fear of loving again is the world's quietest prison. We left together for a stroll along the riverbank. We're all mosaics, she said, built from broken pieces, made beautiful by the light we choose to let in. I imagined my life as a shattered vessel, still whole enough to hold Dawn's promise. I love this imagery of mosaics. It's a reminder that our breaks don't define us, the light we let in does. Writing this, I wanted to capture that subtle tug between hope and caution. It's universal, right? That fear of betrayal mixed with the thrill of new colors. Now, from Chapter 4, The Fragile Thread, this dives deeper into vulnerability, showing how closeness can feel like a risk worth taking. I woke to the sound of rain tapping against the windows. Isabel had become a presence I could not ignore. You don't have to be whole to be loved, she said. You just have to be willing. Her words settled into me like a seed. That night, I returned to the canvas. I painted slowly, deliberately, two figures side by side, not touching but leaning toward each other. Between them, a thread of gold, thin, fragile, but unmistakably present. That golden thread symbolizes so much the choice to lean in despite the fear. In the book, it's a turning point toward honesty over hiding. If you're listening and feeling that weight of wanting, know this: trying is already a miracle. Let's take a minute to talk about where you can find my book. Unbroken Promise is out now on Amazon. It's available in paperback, or if you would like, you can get it through Kindle Unlimited for free. If these excerpts moved you, reply to me on X at Unbroken Promise to share your own unbroken story or leave a review. Your voice could inspire the next episode. That's our time for today on Unbroken Voices. Thanks for joining me in this space of shadows and light. Remember, your broken pieces are waiting to catch the dawn. I'm Sydney Brown. Keep painting your promise.